affected my life. It was such a small person kind of I I think in the smoke shop industry I've been more smoke shop than any of that former life, right? But that's just the nature of that beast when you. So, I'm taking it upon myself. I got nothing but love for the people that are watching this right now, and they're like, "Yeah, Willie, why are you charging $6.95 for everyone? $6.95 for everyone." Now that's wonderful. That's great. I would have gladly done your services for less than $6.95, for free if you really could afford it. Sometimes I was like, dude, just pay for a psilocybin. Sometimes it was in the beginning, for informational purposes only. This is what told people who needed those helps, and that's what it is. But there's been a lot of hate. I know somebody that charged an extremely high price, and they would do services for vets, no charge. You know, but you don't see that. You see the price on the web. 645 is like the rock bottom, and people do want to make. So you can't really do rock bottom, but you got these services, and because now you're advertising, now I'm advertising it right for that price, so everybody gets access to that price. The thing is there's people who can afford more. There are people who have paid more. Most of our services average like 1,200. Usually around 2,500 is what we were getting for a lot of them. That meant we only had to do 2 to 4 services a month to get the bills paid for the month and actually have a salary, right? And then what do? We offer free services. Every other person, do you need empathetic pricing? I got you. What can you afford? What can you make happen? And here's the kicker. Here's what's happening on both sides. The people who can't afford it and who are hurting, they're so hurt they feel like they're scums and they can't do it because I can't. And it's bullshit. Like, I use that word because that's how I feel sometimes, right? And like, they, even though it's offered for free, they don't do it because they feel like they owe something. That they're not worthy of society, worthy of this love, worthy of being able to have these services readily available without exchange. We'll talk about that in a second, but that goes way back to the beginning, where ego and empathy got created. It was all in commerce. It was all in, hunting and then giving out food. And what was the exchange for the food? The appreciation, the later known on in English as thank you. And that appreciation, the word thank you, lost its value in exchange for capital, for money. And so people who can't afford these services usually don't end up getting them. I had a lady who gave me a money order when I specifically told them really not to, that we only do cashes, or you can pay with a credit card for your room service and everything, but you gotta bring cash for your services because we have no way of cashing it. So I had to return it to her, and it was no big deal. But every single step, I was like, it's all good. We'll still see you on Tuesday, no matter what. Oh well, it's gonna cost $45. That's fine. We'll cover the $45. You can still pay. If not, if you can't even cash it, keep it as a memento. We don't even worry about it. This is not, it will come. We just want to help you, and through helping you, even the universe will figure it out. It'll happen. 4 or 5 emails, and every time it ended up being like a personal attack on me. Well, you needed to learn how to do better business. You need to learn how to get the bankings. You need to maybe go to a class. And at every point, it's like, okay, well, I'm in this business and the federal government regulates it. So, unfortunately, there's nothing I could do about those type of things. Second, yes, banking services. We were able to get the banking services set up here in Oregon. I personally worked on this project. Okay, I personally got the people out here. I personally set up the meeting. I was the one that hosted the sponsored event that had them out there, and that's what we did. We worked on the framework. We built out the framework, and this particular person at the bank, I don't want to drop names on who's who, just in case, protect, because banks are very finicky about these things, you know. Yeah, So we set that up. They're a great person. Oh, I didn't realize that. Like, yeah. So, still your services are available. I appreciate you. Well, you need to go to courses. Maybe learn how to do business. There's courses at the college. Okay, well, the wonderful person over there. I've met them through the Chamber of Commerce. They're wonderful. Unfortunately, when I went to set up to do some courses over, learning payroll out here in Oregon, because it's a little bit different than a lot of other states. Yeah, so, I was trying to figure that out, right? And they were like, that person was like, yeah, we're federally funded, so I can't enroll you in the program. But, there are some free classes, but honestly, Willie, I think it'll be a waste of your time, because you seem to have a pretty good grasp on how business operates at its basic levels and even a bunch more of its advanced things. I just don't have a lot of experience with payroll, because that's something you do through banks, and I don't have any experience with banks. I have experience with all cash, because our businesses have generally not been allowed to bank. you know, People will say too, like, this is some new idea that they'll cancel your bank accounts because of what you say on Twitch or something, or YouTube. This is not a new idea. We have had this problem for a long time. It was just for cannabis users and psilocybin providers that had these issues. So you keep moving forward. You keep offering the services out there, and you keep going. But then on the other side of the spectrum, so you're offering services for $6.95, right? You start getting the wealthy people who are calling you up wanting services. Now the thing is, and I've discovered this, is wealthy people are great at pretending they care, but they care about one thing only, and that is not, I'm not advocating to eat them. I'm not advocating against them. That's just their perception of the world. That's how they perceive it. So that's how they interact, and we can't be mad at that. But yeah, they tend to be a little bit more. So they'll say, so we've changed our policy. Our policy now is the $6.95. If you call and you book, I'm going to ask you if you can afford it, and if you still need empathetic pricing, because if you do, we do have some outside sources that we could set you up with. It will take much longer than what I could have done, because I was just doing the services as I can. If I do have a slot to squeeze you in and you can afford your psilocybin, we'll do that. But we only have basically one extra slot per week. So if that is not available, that's not available, right? So the $6.95, if I can book for the 3, but I have to keep the 3 open, because I require the 3 to stay operational. And operational, I'm not even saying stay operational where I get to go take a vacation to Hawaii, or I get to wear new shoes. No, I don't get that at that price. But that's okay. I'm used to it. I can live it. So the wealthy people, though, when they see the $6.95 price, they'll talk about it. We'll say, hey, it's $6.95, but normally we would charge $2,500 or $3,200. If you can afford those prices, we ask that you still pay those prices, because if you do, we will then make sure that those slots are available for people who can't afford it at super reduced cost or no cost. And you're in hopes that they still book $2,500, but they don't. They might put $200 down extra, which then means I have a salary. So, because I still need to somehow feed my kids. I still somehow need to pay my rent. My boys like internet. And let's be honest, the only reason we've had internet recently is because our 14-year-old went to work. Yeah. Boy, felt proud as shit that day. Oh, yeah. So proud. Because one day little Bronson was being unruly, and the rule is, you play Minecraft, but if you be fussing, you lose it real quick. Because, you don't fuss over a video game. You can cry in real life when things are hurting you. In the video game, you're rough, you're tough, you got this. You can mourn, but you gotta keep going. And yeah, so he was, okay, I want to turn it off. You know who has the internet? If you ain't playing real quick, then I just also hear, well, not this month. I have the internet, and if I want my little brother to play, he's going to play. so, so I got beat that month. I couldn't say anything because yeah, he was right. He did pay the internet that month. Like we just barely paid our water bill. Can I make money? Am I some idiot that don't know how to make money? Hell no. I could easily pop up underneath the counter, put in all my drawers a bunch of vape bars, come up real quick, pay for the license, and pay the fine if I got caught. Have 10, 15K a month just rolling in, right? And that's the cost. You cut that in half for cost of goods, so 5. It's still only making like $3,000-$4,000 a month. But that's what my rent is. My rent's $1,500, $1,600. It just adds up. I'm just being so real here. That's what you're just gonna get. You're gonna tune into this 30 days live stream. If you're one of my friends, I appreciate you dropping in. If you're a new friend, thank you. This is just me, putting it all out there, putting all my stress, putting everything I've worked on, everything I've given up, all my sacrifice, what my dreams are, what I'm trying to get to, what I'm trying to achieve, and I'm just putting it out there right here. Get in the cold, hard me and smelly jammas with spaghetti, or not spaghetti, but chicken grease. Sleeping at the spot because I ain't going nowhere. Just waiting for the process. I got a couple months left before the license is up. I'll be at CyCon in October. And we're hoping to team up and work with some great people. Hopefully they can see the vision, what we've already established, and help achieve the dreams together. Because teamwork makes the dreams work with an S. But I just gotta be careful with my time too. I'm gonna make sure not to waste my time on anybody whose conversation is specifically capitalized, just because I still don't quite understand it. I know we can make a business that can, pay out some dividends here and there. There was a lot of hope, but it's definitely a much longer battle than expected. I think if we can establish the New Age club, I think it would be beneficial. I think it would work, and I think that could be a fairly profitable thing. The therapy model, I mean, I was, yeah. There was a missing piece I didn't know moving into this, the insurance industry. The insurance industry, the therapy industry exists because of the insurance industry. The pharmaceutical industry exists because of the insurance industry. The insurance industry is the main source of all of this. It is the reason your doctor has a nice car. It is not because he makes money off of his services. It's pay. It's the insurance industry that decides who what gets paid, what got diagnosed as what's coded for what, and who gets paid. And even when I was working with therapists, we would just meet therapists that were like, I want to get involved. I want to do something. And it was just like, okay, here it is. I will offer you services. You can go ahead and offer it to your people, and you can actually make an income off of that, and that'd be great. No one could do it. There was not any, even at the 695 price. It just doesn't fan through. It doesn't work. It doesn't make it happen. The therapists are being paid way more, but they're on a constant feed loop. So like if you go and get therapy, it could be 2-3 months before that therapist actually gets paid. And so for them, even, it's just kind of this cycle of just this constant, and then of course the thing is too, you set your prices, and then the insurance companies decide what they're actually going to pay you. There's no freedom in that sense there, and that's what could potentially happen with this space. And that would be bad for what I think would be a long term, because people are just looking to connect with people and loosen up and relax, and that's what mini dose does. That's what the small ones do. It can be more of a not go out, get drunk and fall and break your leg, but more of a go out, have a fun time, drink some mocktails, play some video games, color, dance, paint, enjoy yourself, and not have the hangover, not have the horrible things that come with it. I mean, even we're not going to have the transportation plan discussion, but we have transportation plans. We have to abide by them. We have to make sure a client has gone through the allotted time that they're required to be there. Check on it, make sure they sign a form that says that their administration has ended, and then they have to follow through with their transportation plan to get home, or back to their hotel, or wherever they're going. And so, that exists. You don't have that for your local club or your dive bar, and that's where I could see this. That's where I could see this being financially feasible, because under the current model, it is not financially feasible. It is not without the insurance companies paying Uber and just doing what they do, because individual persons cannot afford it like that. So, there's a whole industry built on it, and you're talking about a lot of upper middle class folks, and you lose the upper middle class and the middle class folks, it's just going to get worse for everybody. These classism is not a individuals, groups, and one group does better so the other group does better. That's not, one group did bad, middle class did bad, so the other group is going to do way better. No. That's not how this thing works. The gap gets further and further and wider, and we are all in it together. There, obviously, the gap between the bottom and the top is much further, and it just widens out. It doesn't shrink. Ladders don't go up. You don't move up the social economic ladder without the social economic ladder moving down a notch or two. And we really have to change the way we work together and talk to one another and conversate and have discussions and be accepting of ideas that might not be of our own, might not be the same. And even getting down to, we do have something beautiful here. I think we've lost the way. I think we, you know, controversial take. Ready? This is going to make a controversial take. No one's going to like it. And I've had this discussion with various people, various ethnicities, who we've had these discussions, and heck, the only reason I'm saying this discussion right now is because I was convinced by somebody that you would not think would convince me of this. Ah, the Civil War, the original Civil War, right? Think about it. Think about it for a second. There's a couple things that happened from the Civil War. The federal government overthrew states' rights, even though it was completely wrong, and I just want to make that be known. Completely wrong. They were fighting for the wrong idea. Okay? But at its core, the states' rights to govern themselves was kind of stripped away, and another thing was executed. It was executed, and it was called an income tax to fund the war. That thing never went away, and the states' rights were always kind of under question afterwards. No one cared about the 10th Amendment. Now, was slavery bad? Very much, yes. Was the South bad? Very much so, yes. Was there a lot of bad people in there? Yes, yes, yes. I'm not advocating for a rise of the South at all. No, 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 no. Those were some yokels. They were, they just didn't want to work that hard, and that was bullshit. But that guy just drove by on that cat. It was a skateboard with his cat in town. It's great. The cat just rides on his shoulder. But it did change the way we as states look at ourselves. And I think the thing is, and the reemergence of cannabis, and the importance of the reemergence of cannabis is that state rights are important, and that one state should be able to decide what they want to do. And there's a particular presidential candidate that says this. I do not like that presidential candidate. I think he is egotistical. I think he loses his damn mind all the time. He is not a good leader. He does not piece things together very well. He does not work well with people. He is definitely just like the billboard poster, look at me, look at me, look at me. He wants that attention, and that's about it. However, his, talk about letting it go to the states decision, is, a controversial take, right? For me, I live in Oregon, so I was a little confused because I live in Oregon. We have some of the best women's rights, and body rights, and choice rights. But I seen people protesting, and I'm like, wait, what are we protesting though? Because we already have these rights in the states. We don't have to change that. That wasn't for us. But I get it. You're protesting for the people of like Texas or some of those Bible Belt states, and that makes sense. But we also live. We should be able to freely move. I think that was another important part of our Constitution, was the ability to freely move for that reason. If you don't like your state and what they're particularly doing, you can freely move. You can freely move and go establish somewhere else. I know it's not the best option. I know it's not the greatest, but that's possible. And then on top of that, you have the right to petition your government. So if you don't like it, you still have the right to petition your government, gather up votes, get it on a public vote, and vote it in. We did that with cannabis. We petitioned our government. I took lots of efforts to do so. I worked out 4 different efforts before the effort was successful. I gotta say too, we had efforts that had way more support from the cannabis side of things, and then efforts that had less support from the community. And the one that had less support from the community You know, we were able to get way more signatures and vote. Like, it's just whack. It's like, did you guys forget to vote? Like, when we did that thing and you guys were all supporting of it, did y'all get way too high and actually forget to show up at the polls? Because we lost by like 4 to 6%, right? But we won by 6% on like a 502, I think. It was like 6%, I think. You know? So, what's up with that? You know, why is that happening like that? You know, but we have that ability. You know, we can redress our government. We can do that. And so when it boils down to it, you know, we should have more of a states' rights. And I think cannabis was the kicker for that. You know, because cannabis was a states' rights issue. And eventually the federal government had to release a memo. It was an Eric Holder memo that said, hey, you know, it's a states' rights issue, and if a state chooses to do this program, it does it. Now we're facing a new one, and this is a call to action. You know, in December, the Drug Enforcement Agency is taking on testimony from the people, the public, experts. So if you are a activist, if you have ever been healed, or if you have ever been saved by it, I know lots of people have. Actually, that reminds me, I have one other person I need to reach out. She needs to know about this because she's been on a lot of stations, a lot of news, and I'm pretty sure if she gets back out there, they might pick her up so that we can get this conversation going. Because what this is doing is the DEA is opening this up. This is allowing for those expert testimonies and public testimonies to be put on the public record. That's never been done. You know, when this was banned, it was banned by the government, by the federal government. It wasn't banned by the people coming together, representatives saying, "Hey, we got these studies and they're showing this." No, it just was banned. So to have on the public record, you know, all the stories of how many people it's helped, you know, how many people it's helped. I don't want to say the wrong word, so we're just going to avoid that. But because there's, you know, particular words that you say, and if you say the C word, you might get in a lot of trouble. So we're not going to go that route. We're not going to get kicked off. This is all for informational purposes only. And every single one of those persons had their own perspective of their idea of what helped them, and they perceived that to have helped them. And therefore, I'm just sharing their stories as well as my own stories. And so, you know, make sure to get out there December 2nd. Make sure to follow that up. Make sure to check into that if you are a person who enjoys the finer green things of life. Because we have that right. We have that right. And I think if we are to get this to being a better world, we need to get into smaller area, you know, smaller state tribe type things. But not state tribes as my tribe's this, I'm going to take from your tribe, but as in like we're going to work together, you know, but we're still going to, you know, this particular area, yeah, we're cool if a dude wants to wear a dress, okay? You can still shop with us. I ain't mad at you, okay? I'm reminded of, and I put this video out there, and I don't think people are going to catch on to it. It's a quote. And if you know the movie, I didn't know it was a movie. I was oh God. I don't think, you know, you can't go to jail for handing out flyers, so, but I know that they still harass these people even though it was 20 years ago. But, you know, I enjoyed a particular mask and would don it and meet with various people who had an idea. I don't even like saying it because it got pulled. Like, you know, it's like we're all like, yeah, man, you know, the you know, this particular thing is happening with the federal government and the banks, and this thing we uncovered this with this bank, And yeah, there's the potential that these camps are being kind of set up, and there might be potential of like specific zones, that are allowed or not allowed to go to, and and a particular, you know, money system that will be, fully implemented. Uh, and then, and then you got a guy like, oh, and lizard people are, taking kids to pizza parlors. You're like, what? And if you believe those things, you can believe what you need to believe to make it through the world. Um, is that happening at some level? Yes. Yes. Do I think it's happening as some diabolical underground entity that's ruling everything? Definitely not. This is not the lizard people coming up from Alaska or the Antarctica. But you do what you need to do. So this movie I love because I discovered it after, I'd spent roughly 2.5 years handing out flyers, doing, promotions where we did like a trick or treat promotion where we were handing out flyers in solidarity with Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street, all that good stuff. And yeah, and so I loved it. And then somebody's like, "Oh, you have to see this movie. You know the movie, the V for Vendetta?" I'm like, "What? Oh, I don't know about this movie." And then I watched it, and I was blown away. I loved it. I was like, "This is great." And that movie is from that quote because she finds the letter. Of course, V was feeding her the letter, but the letter was a real letter from a person that was in the psychiatric ward with him, and it was a poor woman who was persecuted for loving someone. And the letter ends with the phrase that even I don't know you, I still love you. And I think that's a powerful message. We need more of that. We need to be able to say that. Even though I don't know you, I still love you. We need that. We need to be okay with that. We need to be okay with everyone's going through a struggle. Just because some poor migrant wants a better life, not to have to worry about getting shot up or robbed daily for the little bit that they get, to provide a place for maybe their kid to grow up where they're not being harassed. Yeah, man, that's okay. And even though you might want a house where you're safe and you know that when you send your kids to school, they're not going to read some book that you disapprove of. That's okay. Let those people be them. Have those feelings. Be accepting of those feelings. Make sure to go down to your local library and check on it. Make sure when you do get across that border that you go ahead and get a good job and chip in, contribute. There's more ways to contribute than just having a fourth of your money taken by people who you think is going to do it better than you. Come on, man. Look at what they spend, and it's every single one of them. We trick ourselves to every 4 years. I feel it's a cycle. That's why it's an 8-year cycle. Every 4 years, we trick ourselves into believing something. Then we go through a process of being like, maybe it wasn't, but then it's like this. Then we go through a process, what's the other one that's messing it up? And then we just check out. And then the next set comes in. And then, of course, the next set is like, well, those people didn't care. The boomers didn't care. These guys don't care. Gen X don't care. And, they're just run ragged. They run ragged because no matter what side, no matter what system, no matter who you believe in, it tends to all boil down to the same concepts. It tends to always boil down to the same concepts. Capital rules everything. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money, dollar bill, y'all. Wu-Tang, forever. You need to diversify your bonds. That's what it is. It's capital. The newest capital is even worse because the newest capital has figured out how to prey on capital investors, and that is just the newest thing, right? Like, that is just it is growing exponentially, and you can make a business and sell your business, right? But who are you selling it to? These capital investors, and what they're going to do is, they're going to take your business that's getting some headlines, getting some good things. They're going to chop it all up. They're going to reduce the cost by reducing your quality. They're going to reduce the cost by reducing your workers. They're going to reduce the cost by reducing your benefits. They're going to ship jobs to different states so they could pay different amounts. It's so funny. Dutch Brothers, perfect example. Oregon-based company, IPO, Wall Street. Everybody's happy. Oregon company is going to be great. Dutch Brothers is, everybody's going to enjoy Dutch Brothers. Going to grow. Yeah, they got into some new locations, but really, what did they do? They started cutting costs. Now the headquarters is in Arizona, and I'm laughing because I refuse to go to Arizona. My people were like, we should go to Arizona because it'll be more cost effective, and we could hire immigrants to do all the work and just send them away. And I'm like, aren't you on the team that believes that immigrants are destroying the country and are like against people loving each other? You constantly tell me this, but you want to hire a bunch of immigrants because that you can pay them little and just go through them if you don't like them. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'm not going to screw over my business partners. I'm not going to screw over the people who are working for us, and we're going to go and we're going to keep trying to keep at it. Unfortunately, though, I got in a car wreck and I was unable to maintain the thing myself. We couldn't get enough capital to really get those going. So we produced products. We got them on Amazon. We sold them. We OEM'd products for other companies. It went really well, but our own product line never really got produced. It got produced in another product which had my name on the bag, but then they were run around and sell mushroom bars into various other states. And they were constantly on me about this. And I'm like, I'm literally becoming 100% legal and legit here. I haven't done these things for many, many years. Like, I don't really want to go back, 15 years doing what I used to do, for a couple pennies. And it was bad, and I was financially struggling. So I was like, woke up one morning. I was like, okay, if either one of you really want to do this, I'll do it. I'll make all the bars you want, but you're the boss. You're the boss. So, I ain't no snitch, but I'm just saying that if this goes down and it happens, I would have to be there for my baby boy. So, I only want to do a year or two. So I'm pointing at one of y'all. So which one is it going to be? One of you two. Who's it going to be? Okay, well, we got to get going. Okay, cool. Monday morning meeting. Hey, what's up? How are we doing today? Yeah, so we're not going to do the chocolate bar project. Okay, I agree. Does not do the chocolate bar project because, it was cool when it was my head on the line, but put your head on the line. That's not cool. So I get it. I still have a lot of resentment for that interaction. Eventually, I pulled their contract, and I was like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that." After we shipped them 450 units, sold all of them, and didn't see a red dime for it. It was just wonderful. So, but not too upset because some of my schooling was paid with that. So very much appreciative. But that's that was a trade-off. Of course, on paper, it was like we got this order in, we did that, but it never actually shipped over anything. They never actually made that. And then when I'd said, okay, well, if you guys are going to be partners, you got to come up with some capital to help the factory run. That's when the conversation about moving the factory is, because that's what they want to do. They just want to cut cost. That's what investment firms do. They cut cost, cut quality, so they could turn around and sell it to the closest bidder. And then once they sell enough, the public is owning all the shares. That's why they call it initial public offering. It's not really the company that's like, oh, hey, I'm offering this public. It's the investment company The investment company buys up a huge portion of their company, and then they turn around and sell those shares. And then at the end of the day, it's us, the public, that's holding the bag. They're holding the capital, and they got enough capital to do it over and over again. They get to look like they're the best because they run around and they just keep doing this process. They show up on their yachts. Everybody bends over and says, "Ooh, please, please let me ride on your yacht. I'm on a boat. I'm on a boat. I want to be on a boat so bad," right? And they spin that. I've watched uh, um, a millionaire, you know, with his knife, you know, talking about. That's a story. You'll have to rewind and find out why I told that part. You know, I think I'm gonna buy me an Audi. An Audi? Isn't that like a $60,000 car? Like whoa. The next day pulling up an Audi, like, yo, no, that, you know, that ain't going down for most of us, you know, you know, and then watching him run around like a chicken with his head cut off, because you know, the person coming into town is, you know, the billionaire, and he's flying in on his private G6. You know, like, there's levels to it. No matter what level you think you get to, there's always another level, and that's what these investment firms build on. They build on the idea that you're going to get to the next level, because they're going to give you enough that, you know, you'll get to the next level. You'll sit there for a while, and that's what it is. But your entity, that's the exchange. That's a sacrifice. You know, your entity gets sacrificed. I mean, how many times have you had a product that you absolutely love that just went downhill drastically? You know, because it got bit off. Like Chipotle used to be the thing. Like Chipotle was bomb. It was delicious, but eventually it wasn't because it was sold. It overdid it. You know, the quality got cut. The streamline got brought in. You know, and that's what happens. That's what happens. That's what that system does. And is it inherently bad? No. Is it inherently good? No. You know, it's part of our cycle of life. It's part of our earth. It's part of who we are, you know, and it's up to us if we're going to what we're going to do with our own selves. You know, are you going to buy into it or you're not? You know, it's not something that we can inherently stop. It's something that we just need to all kind of wake up to, and that's why I do what I do. Because the more people I meet that have had these experiences, the more awake they are. I mean, dude, you should watch some of these doctors do it. I mean, there are certain doctors, like, I got nothing but love for you guys. And it's so funny because, you know, I'm showing up at this venue, and we're the guest of honor because we're the first licensed people, right? And so we're like, you know, we're getting introduced to all these people. We get introduced to this doctor, and he, you know, he's like, "Oh, forgive me while I, you know, smoke, and you know, I'm just out here in shorts smoking in Denver," and you know, he's all looking around paranoid. He's like, "I'm looking like a degenerate," and I'm like, laugh. I'm like, "No, sir, this is what a degenerate looks like." Like, you're good. And so, you know, a few months later, I catch up with him, and he has a passionate speech, passionate talk about just the capital system and how it's, you know, and, you know, that's the thing, you know, we get so stuck in, like, our brains are so left or right, one or two, black or white, red or blue. You know, we have no vision for gray. We have no vision for a rainbow of color. You know, like, is capitalism inherently good or inherently bad? No, neither of those is true. Is communism inherently good or inherently bad? No, neither one of those is true. It has good aspects, it has bad aspects. Some of it works, some of it don't. You know, some of it works in earlier stages, some of it works in later stages. Yeah, you know, The idea.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for today. I've been here all day. We played some games with Bronson earlier, but he was getting a little emotional, so when we switched it up to more, more in-person games. Yeah, so that's what we got going on. Let's see here, I don't want that in the shot here, so there we go. Yeah, it's always difficult when it comes to that transition. I mean, it's been difficult the whole time, right? Like, ever since he was a baby, he didn't want me to go to work, and who wants to go to work anyways? But that's what you trade off when you're an entrepreneur. You can tell I ain't got nowhere. I'm still wearing the same shirt. I got Fruit Loops droppings on it. And lots of dye in there. Speaking of dye, God, today we woke up, we played Minecraft, we were having fun, then we went and grabbed some food, some McCraps. He wanted some McCraps, we got some McCraps, and holy hell, we both, I don't know, we came back feeling like shit. I don't feel good, I know he didn't feel good. Just an hour where neither of us felt good. Gotta change that. Change that lifestyle. Need to find a balance. Need to find a balance to this. I could balance the life and just the accepting of the way it is. But like, dude, I'm not. I don't know, man. I got the worst luck trying to find jobs. I've been searching for like 3 months now. I think they just, I don't know. I guess I have to completely do away with this. I think they don't want to hear that you got, I would like a steady schedule so I can work my other days around it. That's not what jobs do. Jobs want you to be subject to a new schedule every week, so you have no stability, so you just get stuck in that rut, which is fair. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. That's all I gotta say. This is tough. I got a lot of emotion going on here. So much wrapped up into all this. Risk so much. I know it works in the people's faces. I think I need to do that. I think I need to reach out. I didn't really want to do that, but I want to see. I do have, if you go to our webpage, those are comments from people who've come through our experience. I would love to get some audios, maybe some interviews or something. But when you go through it, you don't really want to put everything out there for everybody else. It's kind of a trade-off, Oh. We start the stream in 15 minutes. We're going to give it a new name.
or y'all are creating, what this digital age has created. You know, people don't just mindlessly watch TV so they can be advertised. They want to engage. They want to know something's happening. And, you know, we're seeing that happen. When I was homeless, you know, no one batted an eye, no one cared. You know, you're just a complete nuisance. I know there's a lot of people that feel like that still, but there's also a lot of people who go out and help the homeless. And I'm 100% for it. Like, even if you're going out and recording, don't go out and record someone's sad life, though. You know, ask them, make sure that they're okay with it, because sometimes that story needs to be told. And if you're encouraged to go out there and get freaking help people, and it gets you views and helps you earn some money, that is good. Like, I do not see anything wrong with that. Yeah, that person is helping themselves and they're helping their little channel, but you can also literally see them giving it back. You can literally see them going in, like, there's this great guy who goes and buys food. You can see it, you know. So, and they're also encouraging others to do it. I think that when things are, you know, what is this called? It's Plato's, you know, the story of the cave. You know, when it looks like something different that's outside of and normal, people will ridicule it. They're not, you know, happy with it. That's what it is, because that's outside the normal. What is considered normal? Get up, take your shower, go to work all day, spend all day, you know, 8 hours of your day, hit lunch, get your little break in, go home, you know, be so tired from the day that you just, you know, eat dinner and fall asleep and do it all over again. 6 days a week, 50 weeks, 6 days a week, 50 weeks, not 6, most people work 5, you know, 50 weeks a year, you know, hopefully you get that 2-week vacation. Most of us ain't getting no 2-week vacation, but add up the maybe couple of holidays you get off, there you go, there's your second week. You know, is that really normal? Is that normal? It's normal to us because we see it as normal. That's how it's been since this particular day, since the first factory, you know? But is it inherently bad? No. I mean, I live, you know, I would never have bananas where I live, or coconuts. Coconut water. We wouldn't have coconut water, right? So it's not inherently bad. It's not inherently bad that that we have a system that people do work with, you know. What is inherently bad is that we just get lost in continuously working on it and, you know, perceiving what we perceive others as, like, way too much. Like, way too much. Like, let's do that. Let's figure that out. Right? So, if, let's see here. I want to pull up, let's see here. We're going to pull a sheet, and we'll take it over here. Okay. Perfect. And then I think what I'll do is, so I can keep staring at the computer screen, we're going to size this up, and we'll drop this down. There we go. Yeah. Oh, we can't really see the chat. Yeah. Oh, this. There we go. Now we can see the chat. Okay. We can see the chat. We can see the screen. Let's get back over here. Okay. So, it's a little, like, off for timing. Like, you know, let's play with this. I got an idea. We're going to experiment something. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and we're going to do it. I pretty much came up with it, like, while in the session, because when I'm in the session, I am fully there for you. I am not That's not what's happening. The most I even tell my clients, the most when I'm on my phone, I'm taking notes for you. You know, I'm setting the music up. That's it. I'm not scrolling through Facebook because I also find too, your energies. If my energy is answering emails and dealing with problems, well, that energy is felt, and it's the same. So, we don't do phones, we don't do that. But I'm always wondering, and I have contemplated just how much we waste. So, how much does how many calories does the brain use on thinking about, let's just straight up ask the question about others' perceptions. Let's just ask the question. I don't think there's going to be an answer for this, but that's the question I'm asking myself. I want to actually calculate how much energy. I want to calculate how much energy we waste worrying about what other people are thinking about us. How much of time every day goes into worrying about what someone thinks about you. How much of our time and how much of our lives are wasted in those thoughts. Now I know it's super easy for you to probably say, I don't waste no time on that. Be honest with yourself. How much time do you think goes into worrying about what others perceive you as, what others think of you as? I mean, we are literally inside of a box right now, on this video, presenting ourselves in hopes that people appreciate what they see, So how much energy is going to that? How many calories do you have to consume, for this, right? And if you're consuming calories to do this, how much does that calories convert into energy? Because, I think there was a study that did it. There was calories. What was the question? It was how many calories it took to get you the sandwich. Yeah, it was a chicken sandwich. That's what it was. It was a chicken sandwich. How many calories and how much energy it took to get the chicken sandwich. And I think a guy even took the experiment a little further and made his own chicken sandwich, and it took him 6 months to produce the chicken sandwich. And the video, it was a mediocre chicken sandwich. So let's see. Does the brain burn calories while thinking? Yes, the brain burns calories while thinking. Oh, wow. So I guess it's burning 20% of our energy just as we go. Yeah, okay. I guess I should read this, right? That's how we should do this. Your brain also uses energy to perform normal functions. Although it makes up 2% of your body weight, it burns 20% of the energy you consume. This metabolic activity is generally consistent regardless of what you're doing. So I guess constantly we're doing that. Well, I guess I just squashed I'll have to, of course, look a little deeper. You won't want to just accept the first hotline. But I guess that generally squashes it. You need to burn. A mental task. For you need to
calories in 30 minutes of reading. This person would have to read almost 6 hours to burn. Wow. Well, look at that. We just burnt a hole. This is so funny because I have wanted to answer this so long and never really sat down and took the time just to kind of read about on it. And the first article is obviously telling that you generally burn the same amount no matter what you're doing. Yeah, we're not trying to lose weight by thinking like this. This article might be just biased, just because it is top SEO has it on its top search. So it's sticky. There we go. Here's a good question. Yeah, this is gonna be a deep question. Deep question. I guess I popped a hole in my own bubble here. Alright, well, gotta admit when you're wrong, I guess. So it's saying while thinking burns a tenth of a calorie per minute. So our brains burn about 400 calories per day, plus or minus 10%. The difference is small. Like, okay, so what's that saying? All right. Okay, so let's look a little bit deeper. Just surface level. Popped a hole in the bubble already. So I guess I'm completely wrong. We are not wasting a lot of energy worrying about what other people. Well, we're not wasting physical industry. Yeah, we are not wasting physical energy when thinking what others' perceptions of us are. Okay, so I guess generally we're burning 20% of our calories per day naturally, give or take 10%, which equates to about 400 calories per day just to exist. Okay, so so that is not much room for it would be really small to calculate out how much of that is in thought. But let's see. I guess this is counterintuitive though, because I've seen a study on so I've seen a study that it takes about wow, I'm getting it now. Oh lordy. Okay, so the study I seen was a marketing study. I remember this, and it was all about marketing. And marketing will skew the numbers. So marketing skewed the numbers and said that for marketing, when you're getting to like a marketing message, you want to be less thought. You don't have to have anyone think very far. Otherwise, you lose them after a while, because if you're burning calories to think about nothing, your brain will be like, yeah, we're not thinking about that. Let's keep moving and doing what we need to do. So marketing had suggested that, for every page you have to click on, or every extra step in the process to getting to your services, that's 45 calories, so that just makes perfect sense, because if we take, let's see, 400